Please like, share and subscribe for more videos. Thank you.
Everybody, Grandmaster Mon Hamilton back with another chess.com video about bullet chess, and today I want to talk to you about time management and the value of pieces in bullet chess. In my opinion, the value of time and pieces is a lot different compared to normal chess, which is very natural, of course, but I think it's important to be able to understand that there are certain things which are true in bullet chess, such as a knight being better than a rook almost all the time, and the initiative being incredibly powerful. So I want to go over a few examples of where I think you can apply this logic. Let's start with your time management. A lot of people want to know whether it's better to have auto queen on or off. The firm answer that I can give you is that auto queen should always be on. It would benefit you 99 times out of 100. You might give up a stalemate in the 1 out of 100 case, but it's going to be worth it to save you that time in promotion. So for example, if we take a look at this position right here, king g8, g6, king h8, g7, king h7, king f7, and here if we had auto queen on, sure. This is one example of a time where it would be a stalemate, but better than dealing with, going into your settings and changing things just for this one move. You can move your piece out of the way. This is always simpler, and then promote. This makes it easier to promote to a queen safely. Just get out of the stalemate and then promote. It's always better to have that auto queen off. Also, if we hold down the Alt key, not a lot of people know this, so I want to mention if you hold down Alt, then you can choose what piece you promote to on chess.com. I think it's a very useful feature, so in my opinion, it's always good to have that auto queen on, and then if you're quick enough, press the Alt key when you're promoting and you can choose what piece you want, or just move your pieces out of the way so that promoting does not result in a stalemate. This is another situation which illustrates how important it is to have that auto queen on, and having the auto queen on here lets us execute a very quick checkmate, all by pre-moves. So starting from the beginning, every single one of these moves we can pre-move because we know that our opponent only has one square every time. So bottom line, keep the auto queen on. Now finally, the knight against the rook debate. In a position like this, I think the knight is better than the rook based on how we can pre-move in the position. Obviously black is better, but you have to take into account that there's going to be a time scramble and that the knight is a very tricky piece. For example, black could already hang his rook as easily as something like this. If you're playing as black here, and just a tip in general for trying to convert positions where you're up material but it's not so easy, you don't have time to play 100 moves and grind this position down. So always be on the lookout for possibilities such as this, where you see your opponent shuffling a knight, try to catch him on a move like that, and definitely sacrifice material in order to simplify to a known winning endgame, whether that's a pawn endgame or otherwise. So if you're up a lot of material, don't put too much value on that piece. Don't be scared to take trades or exchanges that are materialistically bad. Always be looking to simplify, as it makes things a lot easier to calculate and harder to mess up in bullet chess. Now finally, with your time management and making sure that you do not start pre-moving recklessly too early. If we take a position like this, I can't tell you how many times I see people just go absolutely berserk in a position like this and play a move like queen g3. Let's say both players have 5 seconds left. Someone will play a move like queen g3. It might take me a second or maybe 2 seconds to respond. But then in a position like this, maybe you have 5 seconds and I have 3 seconds, but I'm the one who can do all the pre-moving and give all the checks, and it's just really risky to give up all your material too early. So you're going to want to keep playing the position generally, shuffle around, and then maybe when you get to this type of position where you both have 1 second or 2 seconds, a move like queen g3 or queen takes g2 is highly effective. But you have to be very careful not to do those types of moves too early. It's not worth it. Got to be at least at the below 2 second threshold to start sacrificing everything recklessly. Now, there's a few examples I want to give you in the opening, middle game, or just themes that I believe are true in bullet, which has to do with the value of pieces. First of all, let's take an opening like this, for example. One of the things that I like to do in an opening like this is understand that let's say black played d5 here, and we just throw the h-pawn up the board. When you see this structure in bullet chess, h4, h5 is an extremely powerful tool to use. So a position like this, doesn't matter what the evaluation is here. I like white. Just looks like easy attack on the king. We have compensation. We're castling long. You can imagine this rook making its way to the h-file. It's important to have the initiative in bullet, and the value of a rook versus a knight is a lot closer than it would be in classical chess. So that's just one example. There are many others. For example, after d4, d5, let's just bring up a position where white gets an isolated pawn. Another really common tactic that almost always works in bullet. Whether it works or not, you usually want to play it for the initiative and for the shock value. When you see a temptation like this, always give in to temptation. Take that pawn. Bishop takes h6. This sacrifice is very, very good in bullet. This is a common way to get out of things, bishop f8. But just to put things in perspective here, I can go as crazy as something like bishop takes on e6. If you play this, I have queen g6, and I'm taking advantage of a pin here. You can see how the tactics start flowing very effortlessly from a seemingly regular position a few moves ago. If black takes that, we can give a check. And after knight g5, there are two maiden ones here that just can't be stopped. So all of a sudden, it's like a winning checkmating attack from nowhere. If black decides to play a move like knight h7, not only is there bishop e6, but I think just d5 and the fact that white has the initiative means that he's doing very, very well here and is probably winning objectively. So attacking on the king side with the h-pawn or with a sacrifice on h6 is very effective. One of my favorite openings to push the h-pawn is actually the Dutch, d4, f5, and in this position just to play h4, because again, it's just the value of the rook for the knight is a lot different in bullet, and just having a position like this means that white's attacking. Again, we'll see this idea of long castling, and just having that initiative and pressure against the king with a lot of open lines is usually going to be worth it. So you're going to want to be willing to sacrifice the exchange a lot easier in bullet. So get past that material hump that you might have in your mind that, oh, it's 5 points versus 3 points. You got to get past that. Be confident sacrificing the exchange, because in bullet, giving up material does not come with as many consequences as it does in classical chess. A few other examples of this: e4, g6. And again, anytime I see this structure, let me just show you an example of how powerful the h4 move can be in the opening. In this position, let's say black sees h4, he gets scared, he plays, let's start with knight f6. He wants to stop h5 altogether. Well, suddenly he ran into e5. Now h5 is coming no matter what, so he might go knight h5. Well, what about g4? What about d4, attacking the knight again? d5, attacking the knight, and I still get my h5 move. So this position transformed already to probably a winning position for white. If black instead starts with a move like d6, and we do get our pawn to h5, nobody likes to take and ruin their pawn structure like that. And if knight f6, h6, and all of a sudden we're really annoying black, who's just trying to castle normally. So this h-pawn advance gives you the initiative in the opening. It's unorthodox. People don't have theory or regular patterns to rely on when dealing with these unorthodox things like, just pushing the h-pawn up the board. It's very effective. Bishop takes h6 that I showed earlier, also very effective. This all goes to show that the value of pieces and tempi and conventional things in the opening like development and stuff like that, it's not as important as the initiative. So try to take that initiative, whether it means this random h-pawn advance, whether it means sacrificing material when needed. Make sure you have the confidence to do that. And as I mentioned earlier in the video,